Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation on environmental scanning. Today, we'll explore how understanding the macro environment is crucial for strategic planning. The focus will be on PESTEL analysis, a powerful tool for analyzing external factors. Over the next few slides, we'll examine each element, political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal, that influences our business landscape. So, let's dive in and get started. When we talk about the business environment, we're referring to all the forces, factors, individuals, and institutions that exist outside of a business, but can still impact its performance. Think of it as the surroundings in which a business operates. These include economic, social, political, technological, and legal forces, among others. Even though these forces are outside the company, they have a significant influence on how the business functions and succeeds. For example, if the government raises taxes, it becomes more expensive for consumers to buy products, which can reduce sales. Technological advancements can also change the game. What was once innovative may now become outdated, making existing products less competitive. Changes in fashion or consumer tastes can shift demand from one product to another, affecting sales and profits. And of course, increased competition in the market can squeeze profit margins, making it more challenging for businesses to thrive. Understanding the business environment is crucial because these external factors shape the opportunities and threats a business faces. Recognizing these forces helps us develop strategies to adapt and succeed despite the changing external landscape. So, what exactly is environmental scanning? Well, since environmental factors have such a significant influence on a business, it becomes absolutely essential for us as entrepreneurs or managers to stay aware of what's happening around us. Environmental scanning, in simple terms, is about gaining a complete understanding of the business environment. It's not just about knowing what's happening, but also about being able to anticipate how various forces and factors might impact our enterprise in the future. Think of the business environment as a landscape full of both constraints and opportunities. For example, regulations like the MRTP Act or wealth restrictions might limit certain activities or growth options. But at the same time, liberalization policies or import relaxation measures open up new avenues for business expansion. So, by actively engaging in environmental scanning, we can better navigate this landscape, leveraging opportunities while managing constraints. Ultimately, it helps us make more informed decisions and stay ahead in a competitive world. Environmental scanning is really about the process of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information from the outside environment that can influence an organization's decisions both now and in the future. It's like keeping a close eye on what's happening around us so we can make smarter choices. This process isn't a one-time thing, it's ongoing, which makes it a crucial part of strategic management. By continuously monitoring the external environment, managers can spot opportunities that might help the business grow, as well as threats that could pose risks. It also helps identify emerging trends and any changes happening in the business landscape. Recognizing these factors early on allows organizations to adapt quickly and stay competitive. So, environmental scanning is really about staying informed and aware of the external factors that affect us. It's a foundational activity that supports strategic decision-making and ensures we're prepared for whatever the future holds. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Now, let's take a closer look at the components of a firm's environment, starting with the external macro environment, which is often analyzed using the PESTEL framework. PESTEL stands for political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors. These elements are crucial because they shape the landscape in which a firm operates and influence its strategic decisions. First, the political aspect involves government policies, stability, and regulations that can either support or hinder business operations. Next, the economic factors include things like inflation rates, economic growth, and currency stability, all of which impact consumer purchasing power and overall market conditions. Then we have social factors, which cover societal trends, demographics, and cultural attitudes that influence consumer behavior and preferences. Technological factors are about innovation, technological advancements, and how quickly new technologies are adopted, affecting competitiveness and productivity. Environmental factors are increasingly important, as sustainability and ecological concerns impact operations and brand reputation. Finally, legal factors involve laws, regulations, and legal systems that firms must comply with, ranging from employment laws to intellectual property regulations. Understanding these PESTEL components helps us grasp the broader environment in which a firm operates, and recognizing these influences allows businesses to adapt and thrive in a constantly changing landscape. This framework is essential for strategic planning and long-term success, connecting directly to our overall theme of understanding external influences on a firm. These are the large external forces that affect all businesses. PESTEL analysis is a valuable tool that helps organizations understand the broad external environment they operate in. It covers 6 key dimensions, which are essential for gaining a comprehensive picture. PESTEL is an acronym that stands for political, economic, sociocultural, technological, environmental, and legal contexts. By analyzing these areas, a firm can better navigate the complexities of its external environment, especially in foreign markets. It's crucial to understand this macro environment because it influences strategic decisions and overall success. Recognizing these forces allows businesses to anticipate changes and adapt proactively, ensuring they remain competitive and resilient in a constantly evolving global landscape. When we talk about the economic environment, we're referring to all the forces and factors that directly influence a country's economy. This includes key indicators like gross domestic product, which shows the overall economic output, and income levels at both the national and per capita levels. It also involves the profit earning rate, productivity, and employment rate, all of which give us a snapshot of economic health. Additionally, government policies such as industrial, monetary, and fiscal policies play a significant role in shaping this environment. For example, an increase in GDP typically leads to higher disposable income for people, which then boosts demand for products. However, high inflation rates can act as a constraint because they increase the cost of production, making goods and services more expensive. Lower interest rates are generally beneficial because they encourage borrowing, leading to increased demand for mortgages and loans. Recent policy changes, like the passing of the GST bill, impact nearly all businesses, affecting pricing, supply chains, and profitability. And of course, recent events such as the demonetization of Rupee 1000 and Rupee 2000 notes have had a significant impact on the Indian economic environment, disrupting cash flow and affecting various sectors. Overall, understanding these factors helps us see how external forces shape economic conditions and influence business strategies. Let's now look at the role of the private and public sectors in our economy. Both sectors play crucial roles, but they do so in different ways. The public sector, which includes government-owned entities, primarily focuses on providing essential services and infrastructure that benefit society as a whole. It helps ensure stability and equitable growth. On the other hand, the private sector is driven by profit and innovation. It tends to be more flexible and responsive to market demands, which often leads to increased efficiency and competitiveness. The interaction between these two sectors is vital for balanced economic development. A healthy public sector can create a supportive environment for private businesses to thrive, while a vibrant private sector can generate employment and stimulate economic activity. Overall, both are essential for sustainable growth and development, especially as we see reforms and changes shaping the economic landscape. This understanding ties into the broader theme of how different parts of our economy work together to achieve stability, growth, and progress. Let's talk about the social environment, which is a crucial part of the broader social and cultural setup where a business operates. It includes the customs and traditions of the society, as well as the standard of living, tastes, preferences, and education levels of the people. These factors shape how businesses function and evolve over time. Now, it's important to understand that while the social environment might not always have an immediate impact on business operations, in the long run, it plays a significant role. For example, cultural celebrations like Diwali, Eid, Christmas, and Guru Parv tend to boost sales of sweets, greeting cards, and related products. These festivities influence consumer behavior and purchasing patterns. Focusing on the Indian social environment, we see some common factors shaping the business landscape. One is the demand for reservation policies in jobs for minorities and women. This reflects social efforts towards inclusivity and equality. Another key point is the push for equal wages for men and women, which promotes gender equality in the workplace. We also observe a rising demand for automatic machines and luxury items, especially among middle-class families, indicating increased purchasing power and changing lifestyles. Additionally, social movements aimed at improving the education levels of girl children are gaining momentum, highlighting a shift towards greater gender empowerment. Finally, the health and fitness trend has become very popular, influencing product offerings and marketing strategies across industries. All these elements of the social environment are interconnected. They may not always be immediately visible in business results, but over time, they shape consumer preferences, labor policies, and even product development. So, understanding and adapting to these social factors is vital for sustained business success. Let's delve into some important aspects of the social environment that influence our society and business landscape. First, we see the change in quality of life, which reflects how improvements or declines in living standards can impact consumer behavior and societal expectations. Next, the role of women in the workforce has gained significant importance, highlighting shifts toward gender equality and the diversification of talent pools. Moving on, birth and death rates, along with overall population trends, are crucial for understanding market sizes and future demand. The attitude of customers towards innovation and lifestyle choices also plays a vital role. It shows us how open or resistant people are to new products and ways of living. Education and literacy rates are another key factor, as higher levels of education often correlate with more informed consumers and a greater capacity for adopting new ideas. And finally, the traditions, customs, and habits of people form the cultural foundation that shapes their behavior and preferences. All these aspects are interconnected and essential for understanding the broader social environment in which businesses operate. Recognizing these factors helps us anticipate changes and adapt strategies accordingly to stay relevant and effective. When we talk about the political environment, we're referring to all the factors connected to government affairs. This includes the type of government that is in power, the attitude of the government toward different social groups, and the various policy changes that different governments implement over time. These elements are crucial because they directly influence how businesses operate and make decisions. The political environment has an immediate and significant impact on business transactions. That's why it's vital for businessmen to carefully monitor and analyze this environment. Understanding the shifts and trends can make a real difference. Additionally, as the political landscape changes, businesses must be agile. They need to adapt their strategies and even their organizational structures to align with new policies and political attitudes. Staying proactive in this regard helps to mitigate risks and seize new opportunities that arise from political changes. In essence, understanding the political environment is key to navigating the broader business landscape effectively. It's about being aware, adaptable, and prepared for whatever political shifts may come our way. Let's take a closer look at some of the common factors and forces that have shaped the Indian political environment. First, initiatives like the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, launched by the government, have played a crucial role in promoting cleanliness and public health, reflecting the government's focus on social development. Similarly, the Skill India movement emphasizes enhancing the skills of our youth, which not only supports economic growth, but also aligns with the broader development goals of the nation. Political stability is another key factor. When the political environment is stable, it encourages business enterprises to invest in long-term projects, fostering economic growth and confidence in the market. The present political system and the profile of our political leaders also influence the decision-making process and policy formulation, shaping how the environment evolves. The Constitution of India provides the fundamental framework within which all these activities operate. It establishes the legal and institutional basis for governance, ensuring stability and democratic principles. Government intervention in business, whether through policies, regulations, or support programs, also significantly impacts the economic landscape. Foreign policy is another influential factor, shaping international relations and opening avenues for trade and investment. Lastly, the values and ideologies of political parties guide their policies and actions, reflecting the diverse perspectives within our democracy. All these factors are interconnected and collectively influence the business environment, guiding how economic activities develop within the broader political context of India. When managing a business, it's crucial to remember that we must always obey the law of the land. This means having a clear understanding of the rules and regulations set by the government. The legal environment that a business operates in is made up of several key components. First, there are various laws and legislative acts that are enacted to govern different aspects of business activities. These laws provide the legal framework within which we must operate. Second, we have administrative orders issued by government authorities. These are directives or guidelines that help enforce laws and regulate specific industries or activities. Third, court judgments and decisions from various commissions and agencies also shape the legal environment. These rulings at the federal, state, or local levels set important precedents and clarify how laws are interpreted and applied. Overall, understanding this legal environment is essential because it directly impacts how we run our business, ensuring we stay compliant and avoid legal issues. It's a vital part of managing responsibly and aligning our operations with the broader legal framework. To work successfully in India, it's essential for business enterprises to have a thorough understanding of various laws and regulations. This includes key legislations like the Companies Act of 1956, the Industrial Act of 1951, FEMA, which deals with foreign exchange, the Trade Union Act of 1926, the Factories Act, and the Industrial Disputes Act. Additionally, laws such as the Consumer Protection Act of 1986 and the Competition Act of 2002 are crucial to ensure compliance and fair business practices. Now, let's look at some important aspects of the legal environment. First, there are legal policies related to licensing and foreign trade, which dictate how businesses operate internationally and locally. Second, businesses must be aware of statutory warnings that need to be printed on product labels. For example, cigarette packets are required to carry health warnings to inform consumers of the risks. Third, foreign exchange regulations are governed by acts like FEMA, which control how foreign currency is managed and traded. This is vital for companies engaged in international transactions. Fourth, there are laws to regulate advertising to prevent misleading or harmful promotions. For instance, the advertisement of alcohol is prohibited, and advertisements for baby food must emphasize that breastfeeding is the best option for infants. All these legal aspects are interconnected and form the backbone of the legal environment in which businesses operate in India. Understanding and adhering to these laws not only ensures compliance, but also builds trust and credibility with consumers and regulators alike. Let's take a closer look at how technological improvements and innovations are influencing Indian business today. These forces open up new ways of producing goods and services, and also change how businesses operate on a daily basis. For example, companies are now adopting new advertising methods like CD-ROMs, computerized information kiosks, and the internet, all thanks to advancements in computers and electronics. This shift makes advertising more interactive and accessible. Another significant change is the rise of online shopping for groceries, which has become very common now. Customers can order their daily essentials from the comfort of their homes, making shopping more convenient. Similarly, booking air tickets or movie tickets online has become routine, and not just booking, but also seeing your seat number right on the screen. Moreover, technological progress allows consumers to compare prices across different airlines or hotels easily. They can choose the most economical option, which promotes better competition and benefits the customer. Overall, these examples highlight how technology is transforming Indian businesses by making processes more efficient, transparent, and consumer-friendly. This is a key part of understanding the broader technological environment shaping our economy today. As we look at ongoing innovation across various scientific and engineering fields, it's clear how these advancements, like lasers, robotics, biotechnology, food preservatives, and medicines, have created a multitude of opportunities for businesses, but also pose some challenges. These innovations can revolutionize industries, but they also require companies to adapt quickly to stay competitive. Moving on, a significant technological shift was from vacuum tubes to transistors, which drastically improved the size, efficiency, and reliability of electronic devices. This transition laid the foundation for modern electronics and computing. Similarly, we saw a move from typewriters to word processors, transforming how we create and edit documents, making the process faster, more flexible, and more accessible. Another example is the shift from carbon paper to photocopiers, which revolutionized document duplication, making it quicker and more efficient for offices worldwide. All these examples highlight the broader theme of continuous scientific progress, innovations and inventions that have shaped our modern world. In the IT sector, specifically, we've witnessed rapid developments that have provided tremendous technological advantages in computers. Things like increased processing power, storage, and connectivity, which have transformed the way we work and communicate. Furthermore, the globalization of technology through imports and exports has facilitated the spread of innovations across borders, accelerating development worldwide. And finally, everyday conveniences like online ticket booking for travel, movies, or rentals exemplify how technology simplifies our lives, making services more accessible and efficient. All these points connect back to the overall theme. Technology continuously evolves, opening new opportunities while also challenging us to keep pace with change. Now, let's take a closer look at the firm's external macro environment using the PESTEL framework. This tool helps us understand the broader forces that can impact our business. PESTEL stands for political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors. Each of these elements plays a crucial role in shaping our strategic decisions. Political factors involve government policies, stability, and regulations that can either create opportunities or pose challenges. Economic factors include things like inflation, currency exchange rates, and overall economic growth, which influence consumer spending and investment. Social factors focus on societal trends, cultural shifts, and demographic changes that affect demand and customer preferences. Technological factors look at innovations and technological advancements that can disrupt or enhance our operations. Environmental considerations involve sustainability, climate change, and resource availability, which are increasingly important for reputation and compliance. Lastly, legal factors encompass laws and regulations around employment, trade, and industry-specific compliance. By analyzing these 6 areas, we gain a comprehensive understanding of the external landscape. This insight is vital for crafting resilient strategies that align with both current conditions and future trends. Remember, understanding the macro environment helps us anticipate changes and adapt proactively, keeping us ahead in a competitive market. Porter's 5 forces is a really useful tool that helps us analyze the different groups within a company's microenvironment. By looking at these groups, we can better understand how each one impacts the firm's ability to compete and succeed in its industry. It's like shining a spotlight on the various external pressures that shape the competitive landscape. The five forces model specifically identifies and examines five key competitive forces. These forces are the main factors that influence industry profitability and structure. By analyzing them, we can uncover an industry's strengths and weaknesses and identify areas where a company might have a competitive advantage or face challenges. The five forces include the threat of new entrants, the bargaining power of suppliers, the bargaining power of buyers, the threat of substitute products or services, and the intensity of competitive rivalry. Each of these forces plays a crucial role in shaping industry dynamics and strategic decision-making. Understanding these forces helps us see where the vulnerabilities might lie and what opportunities are available. It also aligns with our overall goal of developing strategic insights that can guide a firm's growth and sustainability in a competitive environment. So, by mastering this model, we gain a clearer picture of the competitive forces at play and how to navigate them effectively. Now, let's take a closer look at the threat of new entrants. This force focuses on how easy or difficult it is for new competitors to enter the industry. When new entrants come in, they can increase the level of competition, which often makes the industry less attractive for existing players. The key factor here is the barriers to entry. In some industries, these barriers are quite high, making it difficult for new companies to break in. For example, shipbuilding requires significant capital investment, specialized knowledge, and regulatory approval. On the other hand, some industries are very easy to enter. Think about estate agencies or restaurants, where the startup costs are relatively low and entry barriers are minimal. Understanding these barriers helps us gauge the potential threat of new competitors, which is crucial for assessing the overall attractiveness and stability of an industry. So, in essence, the easier it is to enter, the higher the threat, and vice versa. Recognizing this dynamic helps us develop strategies to strengthen our position or identify opportunities in less accessible markets. When we talk about the threat of substitute products or services, we're referring to the availability of options outside of your industry that can replace your product. These substitutes can actually reduce how attractive an industry is and can impact profitability because they put a ceiling on how high prices can go. The key factors that influence this threat include how willing buyers are to switch to substitutes, the relative price and performance of those substitutes, and also the costs involved in switching. If a substitute is cheaper, offers similar or better performance, and switching costs are low, then the threat is higher. For example, think about tea versus coffee. People might choose one over the other based on taste, price, or convenience. Or consider emails versus courier services. Email is a substitute that can replace traditional courier services for many communication needs. Ultimately, understanding this threat helps us see how external options can influence the industry's profitability and how we might need to adapt strategies accordingly. Now, let's take a closer look at how much influence suppliers can have on a company's operations. Suppliers are essentially the businesses that provide the materials and other products needed for the industry to function. The cost of these items, whether raw materials or components, can significantly impact a company's profitability. If suppliers hold a lot of bargaining power, it can make the industry less attractive because it puts pressure on costs and margins. So, what gives suppliers high bargaining power? Well, it tends to be the case when there are many buyers but only a few dominant suppliers. In that situation, suppliers can set higher prices or impose more favorable terms because buyers have limited alternatives. Understanding this dynamic is important because it affects how competitive and profitable a company can be within its industry. The stronger the supplier's bargaining power, the more it can influence prices, quality, and even the availability of inputs. That's why analyzing supplier power is a key part of evaluating industry attractiveness and strategic positioning. This force examines how much power customers have to influence prices and terms. Buyers are the people or organizations who create demand in an industry. The bargaining power of buyers is greater when there are few dominant buyers and many sellers in the industry, and when products are standardized. Essentially, when buyers hold more power, they can push for better prices or better terms, which can impact the overall profitability of the industry. This concept is important because it helps us understand how customer dynamics can shape competitive strategies and industry structure. Recognizing when buyers have significant power allows companies to adapt their approach and find ways to strengthen their position. This slide focuses on the intensity of competition among existing firms in an industry. Basically, it's about how fierce the rivalry can get between competitors. The level of this rivalry depends on a few key factors. First, the structure of competition itself plays a big role. When there are many competitors of similar size, each one is likely to feel the pressure to outdo the others, which heightens rivalry. Next, industry costs matter. If costs are high and difficult to control, firms might engage in more aggressive tactics to maintain their market position. Differentiation is also crucial. When products are very similar, competition often shifts to price, leading to more intense rivalry. Conversely, unique products can lessen direct competition. Switching costs are another important element. If customers find it easy to switch between brands or providers, competition intensifies because firms constantly strive to keep their customers loyal. Now, rivalry tends to increase under certain conditions. For example, when there are many competitors of similar size, each firm feels the pressure to compete aggressively. Also, slow industry growth can foster fierce competition because companies are fighting over a stagnant or shrinking market rather than expanding one. Low product differentiation plays a part too. When products are nearly identical, price becomes the main battleground. High exit barriers, meaning it's costly or difficult to leave the industry, can also escalate rivalry because firms are forced to stay and compete rather than exit when things get tough. And of course, price wars are a classic sign of intense rivalry. When companies continuously cut prices to gain or defend market share, it signals a highly competitive environment. So overall, understanding these factors helps us gauge how competitive an industry is and how firms might behave within it. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really appreciate the opportunity to share these insights with you. Remember, the key points we've discussed, from the importance of innovation to the value of teamwork and continuous improvement, all tie back to our overall goal of growth and success. I hope you leave here feeling inspired and equipped to apply these ideas in your own work. Once again, thank you for being such an engaged audience. I look forward to seeing what you all accomplish moving forward.